Members of the free man on the land can present risks to officer safety. Officers are urged to exercise caution in dealing with known or suspected members of the FOTL. The FOTL is a libertarian and anti-government movement whose members believe that they are sovereign citizens and are not subject to the laws of Canada. They also believe that they have the right to use force, including deadly force, in defense of their land, property, and family. There was already a whole bunch of confusion in that sentence right there for those who, you know what I mean, can pick that up. Indicators of potential involvement in the free man on the land movement. Subjects refer to themselves as given name of the family surname. Example, John of the family Smith. When writing their name, subjects use the given name, colon, surname. Example, John colon Smith, which may be followed by the man. Example, John colon Smith, the man. Subjects claim to be Subjects claim to be living as a son of God or have the status as a son of God. Subjects refer to them as humans or flesh and blood human beings. Subjects refer to Canada as a corporation or a corporate entity and may refer to driver's license and other forms of government identification as corporate issue. During traffic stops, subjects refer to their common law right to travel on the land, which they believe allows them to operate a vehicle for non-commercial purposes, without having to register, insure the vehicle, and without being licensed as a driver. Subjects ask to see the police officer's bond number. Subjects present or reference a notice of understanding, an intent and right of claim, a document they believe exempts them from authority of police and other officials and entities, then to charge fees if they are detained, questioned, or otherwise regulated. Subjects make continued use of nonsensical legal, quasi-legal jargon. In addition, officers are asked to remain alert for the following: vehicle decals containing anti-government sentiments or terms used by the freedom of the land movement such as free man, sovereign, think free, etc. And reference to the freedom of the land related websites such as, and they list a bunch of them.
What are they?
Question. FMOTL.com, freemanitoba.com, thinkfree.ca, worldfreemansociety.org, or any of the various freedom of the land inspired groups on Facebook. And so, as you notice, I didn't see Moorish movement on there, right? The reason is, Grantchik is going to go deeply into this today. There's a big difference, right? If you know the difference, you'll be able to protect yourself. If you don't, you're going to find yourself maybe scared to do something that's already yours, and that's been the trick with us since we've been denationalized. Okay, so we're at a conscious level right now where it's not like we don't know what's going on. We have how many hundreds of years of experience to learn from. This is what's going on. This is the simple math. This is simplified math to our big. Of course, there's a lot of elements that we have to fix up. But in terms of our status, our identity, in terms of going forward as a movement, and understanding what a movement is, and it's not how it's not a group, it's a movement. But what they did was create groups, called them movements. Right? It's a big trick. Right? Standard military. So as you see, they did in Libya, and that's how they got the people to overthrow and denationalize the country. They did it in Haiti. Everywhere you see this, the same textbook tactic. For references, read the books, Confessions of an Economic Hitman, or The American Empire. That's just one example, but the way he breaks it down in there, you'll really see how clearly these are standard tactics used over and over and over again. Right?
Okay, thank you.
And when you trace the origin of the tactics, they go to the Inquisition. Inquisition was incision and birthed in the destruction of the Moors in their stronghold in Spain. Right? So that tells you who we are, that tells you what's going on. So, Grand Sheik, you ready? Alright. Give thanks, proclaim your nationality. Islam. Oh no, this is Islam.
We can get a copy of that.
Yeah, you can just email this out.
Alright.
Everybody.
Alright, I'm gonna send out the mass email as I get home.
Perfect.
The thing with this document also is to remember that because the real sheriff or sharif is the prophet, we have jurisdiction on these matters. Like we have to have access to this. It doesn't matter how it got in our hand, right? The point is that we have it now. Now we know that they actually know about this whole free man thing. It's not a secret or anything like that, right? And they have an obligation to be de jure, or they wouldn't be talking that free man on the land is trash. And the only reason they're talking this way about the sovereignty, citizen, free man on the land movement is because they're obligated to what the Moors set up. Like what Grand Mufti was saying, we gave them the Constitution and said, this is your rules, you have to follow it. Right? And that was before Noble Drew Ali's time. Just so we can put in perspective that, it's not about Noble Drew Ali. Like we were Moors before Noble Drew Ali came and said, you're Moors, you're not Negro, black colored. So it's not something as far as him that people are gonna like attack him, right? Don't want to follow him. It's not about following him, right? He found out that he was a Moor. He wasn't born a Moor. He was born Timothy Drew. So even he had to go through the transition of proclaiming nationality and go through the motions. So if he could do it, which is what the exercising of your birthrights is for, the exercising of your birthrights is so that it can be done, and then because you did it, now you set precedent for somebody else that they could do it now because you did it. Right? He was born Timothy Drew. How come you're going to go to his gravesite and it doesn't say Timothy Drew's buried there?
Where is he buried?
In Chicago. Burr Oak Cemetery. Right? If we can go to the Prophet's gravesite and it's not going to say Timothy Drew, it's going to say Noble Drew Ali. We're not going to go to Muhammad Ali's gravesite and see Cassius Clay. Because it's something that you're supposed to be able to do. If there's a fraud going on, and you know about the fraud, then the only next thing is to stop dealing with the fraud, since you know what it is. And then this is what these people are putting out, right? And we don't wrong them. Like, I think the chairman talking about, like, we back this. I have no problem with the RCMP. I don't know what they did to people or whatever. It has nothing to do with me. All I know is that they're saying that the sovereign citizen movement's a fraud. And they didn't put Moors on this list, right? And it's not like they don't know. Like the RCMP knows about the Moors. They know. Like I know Moors that sent them stuff. That they got something in the letter from an L or a Bay before. Right? Like the top RCMP officer, the head of all the other guys. So it's not like they don't know. And if this was August 2011, and we started dealing with this in like 2007, 2008 in this city, then they know. They can't not know. Because as soon as you punch in free man on the land, something about more is gonna come up. Right? And especially on YouTube. Especially on YouTube. Because in the tag, when I started finding out about the free man on the land movement, and how relative it is to the Moorish movement, I would always tag Freeman when I'm putting up a Moorish video. That's how I know that if they know about Freeman, then they know about Moors. Because they would have had to type in Robert Menard's name, and something that we did came up. Whether it's when we went to Ottawa, whether it's when we did public relations forum, whether it's whatever, something's gonna come up. Right? And for them to not put Moors on the list proves that they're for the du jour, and they know. They did their studies. They have their own little think tank that's all they do. They just go on websites and just research stuff. 12-hour shift, like that's what they do. That's all. Like their job is to log in, punch the thing, sit at a desk, and then you just study Freeman stuff for 12 hours. And then write a report after about what your findings were about this. And they have about 50 employees in that department.
They got it.
Right? So they have to know. Right? So if they know, right, this is the thing that we were talking about with the frustration about dealing with other people who don't want to recognize what we're saying, like it's only us that are saying what we're saying. You know what I mean? If police kick your ass, technically they're telling you you're not Negro black colored. Right?
Yeah.
If you want to be it, then yo, take what you get. Right? You know what I mean? And yeah, it's gonna be hard for some people. You know, it's gonna be hard for most people. Right? That's why Noble Drew Ali said that it's a divine movement and a national movement. So there's levels of people that are gonna be involved in this. And then that's why he has, you know, from the lowest level, the Moorish Science Temple of America, which was incorporated, which is just a corporate arm of the movement. And then there's the Moorish Holy Temple of Science and the Old Canaanite Temple and the Moorish Divine National Movement. And then that connects you to all this other stuff. If you really understand what the Prophet brought and the fact that it was for our liberation, it was our salvation. It wasn't just, you know what I mean, like, you know, honors to the forerunner, Marcus Garvey. But Noble Drew Ali, founding the Moorish Divine and National Movement, wasn't like Marcus Garvey reading a book about, you know what I mean, something and being inspired to start this movement called the United Negro Improvement Association, or the Universal Negro Improvement Association. Right? Like the Prophet Noble Drew Ali was ordained to do certain things that he did. And the recognition is in just like what he said. Study, study, study. And when you study and don't know what to study next, I would tell you study yourself. Now when you start studying yourself, now you're getting into the divine part of the movement, which is where everybody was supposed to be during the time of the Prophet. Like in 1929, as soon as the Prophet passed, it should have been just every single temple is now its own regency because there's no Prophet anymore, right? There was obviously infiltration, so the ones who were adept would have known to keep the structure. And like that's how you know that everybody sold out. Like everybody sold out. There wasn't nobody that was like on the Prophet's side solely. Everybody had some type of ulterior motive with regard to the Moorish movement.
That's right, because he did it and he was so powerful. On top of that,
Right.
as much as he left earlier before all these guys, and as much as as much work as he put in, I mean, I don't know. That's crazy.
You know what people are looking at it from, you know, that honorable perspective. They're looking at the perspective as that's just another black guy that just came to help black people. And his name is Noble Drew Ali, and he founded the Moorish Science Temple of America, and you know, they have chapters in this state and in this state, and Just like the, you know, the UNIA was founded by there.